The moving truck hadn't even finished easing into my driveway when 3 police cruisers screeched to a stop, boxing it in like the streets had just become a crime scene. No sirens, just the rhythmic flash of red and blue lights painting the suburban pavement. Through the side mirror, I saw an officer step out, hand gripping a megaphone. "Sir, step away from the vehicle and keep your hands visible." I set my coffee down and climbed out cautiously, raising my hands more in bewilderment than compliance. That's when I saw her. Margaret Petton, president of the Maple Ridge HOA, perched on her immaculately kept lawn, a lavender pantsuit hugging her frame, her phone clutched like a weapon. Her lips moved rapidly, narrating the scene to whoever was unlucky enough to be listening. The lead officer approached, and I noticed a faint smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Are you Nathan Brooks?" "That's me," I said, my voice steady despite the absurdity. "The one with all the tiny home permits." Margaret's triumphant expression flickered to confusion in an instant. The officer extended his hand. "Officer Mike Garrett, we got a call about quote-unquote suspicious activity regarding an illegal structure. But your permits are all here on file." I was 35, Nathan Brooks, a tech industry veteran who thought I'd seen enough corporate absurdity to last a lifetime. A decade of climbing the ladder had finally given me the chance to pursue my dream, a sustainable, minimalist lifestyle. Buy a small plot of land, install an eco-friendly tiny home, work remotely, and reduce my carbon footprint. The land I'd purchased was on Cedar Creek Lane, technically inside Maple Ridge subdivision, but crucially not under HOA jurisdiction. A grandfather clause had exempted my lot due to a decades-old property dispute. That detail would prove vital very soon. Margaret Petton had ruled the Maple Ridge HOA like a queen with an iron fist wrapped in velvet for 15 years. At 58, she wielded the neighborhood like a personal kingdom, issuing decrees about grass height, mailbox colors, even the precise angle for displaying the American flag. She once fined a family $200 because their garden gnome was, in her words, facing the wrong direction. I wasn't moving in with a party house or a commercial operation, just a professionally built, visually appealing tiny home that met every county code. To most people, it looked like a quaint little cottage. To Margaret, it was apparently a declaration of war. The trouble began 2 weeks before my move. I was at the property, laying the foundation, when Margaret appeared like a suburban specter, clipboard in hand, radiating disapproval. "Excuse me," she said, her voice sharp enough to cut concrete. "What exactly do you think you're doing?" I straightened, brushing concrete dust off my hands. "I'm Nathan Brooks. I own this lot." Her eyes narrowed behind designer frames. "This is a traditional single-family neighborhood. We have standards." "Good thing I'm not part of your HOA," I replied cheerfully, returning to my work. The silence afterward was thick, suffocating. I looked up to find her furiously typing on her phone, presumably contacting her flying monkeys or scouring property records, or both. "This won't stand," she muttered before striding off in sensible heels. Over the next 2 weeks, Margaret launched a campaign of pure suburban warfare. First came the letters, delivered daily to my apartment, each more creatively threatening than the last. They ranged from vague warnings about maintaining neighborhood character to citations of HOA bylaws that didn't even apply to my property. Then she escalated to in-person harassment, appearing whenever I was at the lot, phone in hand, documenting everything while narrating to her audience. Day 4 of the illegal construction. She'd announced the perpetrator continues to show blatant disregard for our community standards. She even organized an emergency neighborhood meeting, complete with a slideshow titled "Tiny Houses Equal Tiny Values," manipulating images to make my future home look like a dilapidated shack. According to my future neighbor Tom, who attended out of curiosity, she suggested tiny homes attracted undesirable elements and could compromise the moral fabric of Maple Ridge. The Thursday before my moving, she tried another tactic. I arrived to find the lot cordoned with orange cones and caution tape, topped with a large sign claiming construction halt ordered by HOA. Called the county inspector, who confirmed no such order existed and sounded amused. "Is this Margaret Pettin again?" he asked with a sigh. "She's called us 17 times this month." I removed the cones only for Margaret to appear moments later, seemingly materializing from thin air. "Those are official HOA markers," she shrieked. "You're tampering with official markers." "Margaret," I said as calmly as possible, "your HOA has no authority here. I've shown you the property maps, county approvals. What more do you want?" Her face flushed purple. "I want you to respect this community. We've worked for years to maintain a standard of living." Then she made the mistake of stepping onto my property, jabbing a finger at my chest. "You will not destroy everything we've built with your hippie shack." I took a step back. "Please leave. You're trespassing." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Trespassing? I'm protecting property values. I'm doing my civic duty. Leave. This is your only warning." She stormed off, but not before promising I would rue the day I crossed her. I didn't yet know how literally she meant it. Which brings us back to move-in day. Officer Garrett explained the situation. Margaret had called 911, claiming she'd witnessed armed individuals unloading suspicious cargo into an illegal structure, fearing for herself and neighborhood children. "Armed individuals?" I asked, gesturing to my moving crew. "2 college students and Earl, a 60-year-old retiree, taking a smoke break." "That's what she claimed," Garrett said, shaking his head. "She said you were establishing some kind of compound. Possible cult activity was mentioned." By now, 2 more officers had joined. One, Jake Harrison, lit up at the sight of me. "Nathan, man, I heard you were moving back. Is this your place?" He turned to Officer Garrett. "This guy and I went to high school together. He's definitely not starting a cult." Margaret had crept closer during the exchange, close enough to catch every word. Her expression cycled rapidly. Disbelief, anger, then desperation. "Officers, you don't understand," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "This structure hasn't been approved by the HOA Architectural Committee. It's completely out of compliance with our CCNR's officer." Garrett's patience was thin. "Ma'am, we've been over this. Mr. Brooks' property is not part of your HOA. He's followed all county regulations. Permits are in order, but the aesthetics," she wailed. "Property values are not a police matter," Garrett said firmly. Margaret's face drained of color. "False. False emergency reports are serious," Jake interjected. "You reported armed individuals and suspicious cargo. I see moving boxes and furniture. You also mentioned potential cult activity. That's a serious allegation. Margaret's mouth opened and closed like a gasping fish. I was being cautious. You can't be too careful these days. Garrett pulled out his notebook. Ma'am, I need to see some identification. Filing false reports with emergency services is a misdemeanor punishable by up to $1,000 in 6 months in jail.